Welcome to another Super Atheist Brother production. I am Mario.
And I'm the real Luigi. I'm Luigi, he's Mario, so I don't know how you missed that, but let's just
Well, you know what? I don't blame him. You know, you just Super Atheist Brothers, that guy's face on it, probably Mario. Whatever.
I make majority videos, but now we'll both be in this one. So we're responding to Telemantros, I guess.
And his video is Re-Atheist Brothers in little parentheses called Resurrection.
So basically, I just want to start off by saying, I think even taking his entire case into consideration, I still think, if I even grant him everything he gave, I still think my case was stronger than his, overall, just because the evidence was so much more superior in every regard, and still screams superior, even if I give him every step of the way.
Yeah, stroke that E-peen.
Anyways, I still think that my case is still superior to his, even if I give him that. But I'm still going to try and slowly take down his arguments against it and demonstrate they're weak. They don't really devoid my arguments.
So let's go through it. Okay. You have to go there.
The Super Atheist Brothers, who henceforth I'll call Mario because of, you know. Now, the argument raises a mix of several different arguments aiming to cast skepticism on the eyewitness accounts of the resurrection, the testimony of. Mario subs his position nicely between 551 and 623, but for the sake of time, physical possible event with a good testimony, which you would define as recent, as consensus among the testimony has many witnesses, and you know the witnesses personally, but they would believe a supernatural claiming lacking such a testimony, which is in Mario's point of view, that is. However, for me, this argument suffers from at least two large problems, namely, one, both of these issues in greater detail. The first and lesser issue I have with Mario's conclusion is the assumption that a report of a miracle, by definition, is at a disadvantage compared to another quote-unquote typical report.
You can pause it right there. See, I just find that it's completely full of shit for a number of reasons. In Luigi's video, it's Luigi's video in Luigi's point of view, by the way, he has posed, let's just have a mock situation where we have a spoon that's completely natural and a supernatural spoon. And you can have attributes to either spoon. You know, you got the regular spoon that's completely naturalistic, your standard everyday spoon. Then you have, like, a magical supernatural spoon that floats above air and all that stuff right now. Really, on both cases, just on their own merits right now, most people would not believe you on a supernatural spoon. It's at a disadvantage from the get-go.
I actually didn't use that in my video, but I wish I had. And the point is that I actually argue that supernaturality is almost always going to be greater than naturality, because naturality is almost always simpler than a supernatural explanation. Usually supernatural explanations are unexplainable by their very definition. The thing is, the supernatural spoon is going to contradict our understanding of the universe. It's going to require a lot more explanatory power. It's going to be way harder to explain, require a lot more evidence. You know, it is, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that supernatural is, of course, at disadvantage, no matter what circumstances it is.
I think it's kind of crazy, in my opinion, to presuppose that a supernatural explanation is on the same footing as a naturalistic explanation, unless you're going to say and give credit to every single alien abduction and every other account in every other religion. If you're going to give credence to that, then sure, but at least be consistent with it.
And you need to take every argument valid. For instance, let's say we walked into a room and the light was off, and we turned the light switch and it stayed off. So we can drop a number of different conclusions, as in that, you know, or causes like, you know, power's out,
or there was a brownout, or
the circuit's broken, or, you know, light switch is broken, or you didn't pay your, you know, electric bill.
But as far as this guy's concerned, right, we could just say it was electrical fairies that were the cause for it, and be on equal footing for all those other reasons we listed. Because apparently, in this guy's view, supernatural claims are on equal footing with naturalistic claims. And I personally don't believe in electrical fairies.
And that's the thing. It's not equal. It's an unfalsifiable claim, it's ridiculous, and it would require a ridiculous amount of evidence to prove that claim compared to everything else explained there.
So remember, kids, when that dirty science teacher tries to tell you that lightning comes from clouds and whatever in the air, that's actually Thor and Zeus at the same time. You best be careful. Anyway, continue.
Of some other event. Such an argument mirrors Hume's argument against miracles in his essay, An Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding, wherein Hume suggests that there's a contest of two opposite experiences. However, if one holds such an assumption, it is difficult to see how this is not begging the question in favor of naturalism. Following William Paley's counter-argument against Hume, Paley says that a narrative of a fact can only be said to be contrary to experience if we, being at the time and place in question, observed that the alleged event did not in fact take place. Otherwise,
So, in a sense, you have to be omnipresent to ever consider supernatural things to not have occurred. And I think that's just a load of horseshit.
I'm going to go out and say that I think that almost any historical claim is, and whether or not it's natural or supernatural, is considerably weak. You would need a ridiculous amount of evidence to vindicate it, in my opinion, if I'm actually to believe it. And I'm expected to believe this claim. I really am if I'm supposed to believe in the Christian God.
Furthermore, I don't actually think you were making a claim for naturalism. At least I don't think that was your intent per se.
I wasn't saying that naturalism must be true for this argument to be valid. I was saying naturalism is going to be a simpler explanation than supernaturalism in every regard.
I think this guy was just a little misunderstood in that regard.
Actually, I think he totally forgot the appeal I made when I asked him the question, what do you think is greater, this supernatural toothbrush or jumbo jet, which is what I actually said. And I think if he really thought about it, would end up concluding that really, you're right, the toothbrush is going to, of course, be a lot more difficult to explain, a lot more interesting than a jumbo jet in my backyard, despite how ridiculous that would be.
Yeah, but at the same time, I really don't see how it's necessarily begging the question. At least
it would be begging the question if my conclusion was naturalism true, if I presupposed it.
Yeah.
But I'm not presupposing naturalism. We have never observed supernatural events, and there's an indefinite amount of naturalistic evidence.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it must be natural. It can be supernatural and be valid. The problem is that it's going to be weaker. It's at a disadvantage, and we demonstrated that earlier in the video.
Pretty much what he said.
you're simply assuming that such events are contrary to experience, thus begging question. Moreover, there is direct testimony of the resurrection of Jesus, which is more powerful than the indirect.
Direct eyewitness testimony?
Really? Please go more on this, because I see very little reason to believe that any of this is actually eyewitness testimony.
I mean, first of all, I think it's pretty accepted within Bible scholars, or whatever you'd call them, that the earliest known account came decades after Jesus' death. So, what's to say these were from eyewitnesses? I mean, how would you know? Honestly. Other than you want to presuppose that they're eyewitnesses. Other than I want to believe that they are. Because otherwise, the earliest is, 30, 40 years or so after his death? I could be wrong on those numbers. Please look that up for me because I'm a lazy asshole. But even still, I don't really know you can just outright say that they're direct eyewitness testimony without presupposing himself, which I think is kind of, I don't know, a double standard. Because, while I don't think Luigi here is, his big issue was that he was assuming too much about supernatural claims. And here he is assuming a little too much.
Yeah.